Kendall, where angels fear to tread. And that was the headline in the Kendall Gazette 3 years ago, when students of Kendal College took to the streets as part of the Lakes International Comic Arts Festival, inspired by my book Clockwork Watch. And they created the most amazing immersive experience that spanned the whole town, where they celebrated the tricentenary of women's suffrage and immersed the whole town into a make-believe scenario. This is a chance to actually give you the lowdown on what it's all about, just in case you missed it. And on the other hand, if it's new, you'll find out a bit more. The story so far. When British society is promised something new, Her Majesty's government reforms the Department for the Advancement of Sciences and appoints a group of esteemed scientists to create a brighter future. They in turn look to Indian visionary Chan Rambir for help. He's a master kineticist at Calcutta University and a man with dreams of a clockwork world. Is the premise of my book Clockwork Watch. A story told through graphic novel, street theatre, role play. It's a co-created universe where we hand parts of the story over to members of the public and more or less challenge them to come up with their own unique ways of telling their own unique stories. And that's what we did with students of Kendal College 3 years ago when they took to the streets in the most elaborate way and created a street theatre that ran on for the best part of 10 hours. The nugget I gave them was Angel Corp, an all-female airship squadron appointed solely by Queen Victoria herself. They were above the law, and that was one of the things that irked a lot of role players within my story world and turned the streets of Kendal into a beautiful theatrical spectacle.
At heart, we just want to integrate nicely into the Kendal community. We're here to bring very modern ideas here, and we want to become role models and inspire women and young children to become the best they can be.
This Angel Corp are a disgrace to Kendal. They're not needed here, not wanted here. They are vicious savages. I personally have an experience with Angel Corp. They assaulted me, and that's what's come to Kendal.
So we're going to go through some of the letters sent into the Kendal Gazette in relation to Angel Corp being in town. The first, the imminent arrival of Her Majesty's Angel Corp squadron seems to have ruffled a few feathers in the Cumbrian town of Kendal. The arrival of Angel Corp has been a common topic of discussion recently. The Gazette feels that one aspect of their arrival has not yet been touched upon, and that is the opinion of law enforcement, the police. Well, I, for one, am elated to hear the news that Her Majesty's Angel Corp are returning to Kendal. Guess what? They're a fine, upstanding squadron as I ever saw.
Let's go! To the memorial!
Welcome you aboard Angel Corp. Angel Corp. Angel Corp. Angel Corp. Forever let us hold our heads up high, 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 high. We are Her Majesty's Regiment of War. We have pride in our hearts, we're the Angel Corp.
Can I welcome you to our wonderful town of Kendal? Your reputation have gone before you. We are excited about your arrival here. We have heard some tales of your deeds and your naughtiness occasionally, but we are still pleased to welcome you.
This book, Sins of My Father, is the 9th book in the Clockwork Watch series. The first paragraph in the book itself is dated the 7th of August, which happens to be my birthday. To give you a bit of an insight into where things are, 7th of August, so much has changed since the Battle of Arnold Circus. That was a battle where clockwork automatons battled with humans. They now walk among us as if they were real people. Owners have colluded with them to form cells of resistance. People admire their resilience and have started to augment themselves with clockwork parts. Today, the living dead have risen. Now, clockwork is all about society. There's a little bit of I'd say slavery. There's a little bit about women's suffrage. There's a little bit about the socio-economic times that we live in. And what we've done with the story is offered the public an opportunity to tap into those respective tropes and to explore them in their own way. Part of the stuff that we did here in Kendall was to set the scene for the students at Kendall College to explore, to engage, to participate and to interact. Angel Corp was a means to an end to a certain degree, to empower women to actually take to the streets and show that they are a force to be reckoned with, and that was more or less why I created Angel Corp. Now, going through the book, as I said, they're rather raucous from the letters I read, and one of the beautiful things is right here by the memorial in Kendall. On that day 3 years ago, they marched, they sang, they showed that they were a force to be reckoned with. And I was so delighted to be able to take that scene and to adapt it and to add it to the new book so that they themselves become part of the story. Give you a little bit more background about Clockwork Watch. Now, what I did, some would say is rather adventurous, some would say is a little bit crazy, but I created a universe where everything's harmonious. There are no ups, there are no downs. Just about everyone in the world is as equal as possible. But they had servants, and those servants were clockwork automatons who were forced to work as slaves. And when one of those automatons gained a sentience and realized that, hey, he's a slave, but he has the same characteristics, the same mental faculty as a human being, he stepped up and said, treat me as you would treat yourselves. And that was where society fell apart. And it's more or less taking a whole load of history, a whole load of the harsh horribleness of the Victorian age, and porting that onto an automaton that is more or less seen as not human. And then asking society to role play around and to explore their past. And that is more or less Clockwork Watch.
Left, right, left. We work hard and we play fair. Hear us when we roar. Angel Corp, Angel Corp, forever let us hold